In the shadows of international intrigue, James Bond steps into a web far darker and more calculated than any mission he has faced before. The Veil Syndicate, an elusive network of merciless operatives, has set its sights on a covert atomic store within a foreign territory. What begins as a routine reconnaissance quickly spirals into a dangerous game of deception, where every shadow could hide a gun, and every ally could be a target. Bond is not alone. At his side is Dr. Helena Cross, the uncompromising operations and intelligence chief, whose sharp mind and icy precision challenge even Bond's legendary instincts. Alongside their elite CID team, Victor Tiger Rook, Joseph Calder, Ryan Cole, and the rest, the mission demands split-second decisions, calculated risks, and unflinching courage. Opposing them is the Syndicate's local operative, a cunning strategist with advanced surveillance, automated defenses, and deadly contingents ready to strike. A black jeep marks their presence, a signal of imminent danger. As Bond uncovers their movements, he realizes that this is not just about intelligence or sabotage, it's about containing a catastrophe before the world realizes its threat. This story unfolds in dual shadows. On one side, the meticulous, relentless approach of the Syndicate. On the other, Bond's calculated maneuvers, tactical brilliance, and subtle psychological warfare. Every encounter, every decision, carries life or death stakes. Prepare to enter a world where espionage, science, and suspense collide. From rooftop chases to high-tech traps. From psychological duels to full-blown combat, Bond must navigate enemies both visible and hidden. The clock is ticking, and the line between victory and disaster is razor-thin. In this gripping tale, nothing is predictable. Loyalties are tested, secrets are deadly, and every shadow holds a story. A jeep? Not really. Interesting. Very. Bond's lips curved into a faint, almost mischievous smile as he surveyed the city skyline from the rooftop terrace of the CID safe house. Dr. Helena Cross, the operations and intelligence chief, raised a sharp eyebrow. Smile all you want, Bond, but remember why we're here. Both of us have clearance to this sector, yet only a fool thinks our visit is ordinary. Bond chuckled softly, leaning casually against the railing. His eyes scanned the distant industrial district, where a line of warehouses stretched like silent sentinels along the river. Ordinary isn't in my vocabulary, he replied, shrugging. Helena's gaze flicked toward him, assessing. Then perhaps you can explain why your team was selected for this reconnaissance, and yet, we are here, walking the same path. Who exactly gave both of us the clearance? Another secret meeting behind our backs. Bond's smile widened, but he remained nonchalant. Rules are rules, Chief. I didn't question them. I know what I'm allowed to see, and I know when to act. Helena crossed her arms, her sharp demeanor cutting through the mild chill in the air. Let's see if your confidence holds when reality bites. The two of them slipped into the armored CID vehicle waiting at the edge of the terrace. Bond had already informed his team to stay on standby, but Helena insisted on one condition before departure. Call the rest of your team, she demanded. If you're this sure about what's happening here, I want full coverage. Bond tapped his earpiece, signaling to Captain Marcus Hale and the rest. Marcus, hold positions. I need eyes and ears at every approach. Meanwhile, as the vehicle maneuvered through the empty streets toward the industrial district, Helena's tone softened slightly. You saw something, didn't you? She asked, narrowing her eyes. Bond paused. I didn't lie, Chief. The black jeep. That's the symbol. The Veil Syndicate's presence isn't far from here. Helena's lips pressed into a thin line. Which jeep? Name the team member associated with it. Victor Tiger Rook, Bond replied calmly. It's a trap. They're testing our presence. Helena let out a slow exhale, her mind racing through the implications. Then it's not leisure. Straight to business. In a dimly lit room deep within the Veil Syndicate's regional HQ, the Syndicate's main agent presided over a table of operatives. Each report was laid out with precision. One by one, operatives recounted their surveillance, weapons movement, and intelligence findings. The agent paused at the report from the black jeep, his steely eyes narrowing. So, the vehicle has been spotted. The operative inside, Bond, he said, tapping the dossier. He's marked. Extremely dangerous. Every move calculated. The superior agent's voice carried weight. Transmit these findings to Section Asia's in charge immediately. I want eyes on that jeep. Ignore nothing. Do not underestimate him. The order was relayed with military precision. The in-charge at Section Asia, code-named Secton, acknowledged via secure line. Understood. The jeep is a trap, but we will let it proceed unnoticed. Our real operation begins tonight. Back at the HQ, plans were finalized for an attack. Advanced machinery, surveillance drones, and precise coordination were set to counter Bond and his team. Arriving at the industrial sector, Bond exited the vehicle with Helena at his side. They walked the dimly lit warehouses, scanning for the Syndicate's markings. Bond pulled out his binoculars. See that container? Too quiet for ordinary cargo. They've taken the atomic warheads. Helena's sharp gaze followed his line of sight. How many? About 100. Stored in crates meant for transport. They were removed from the primary vault. Someone wanted them hidden here. Bond crouched, touching the ground. The Syndicate is clever, but predictable. I've seen patterns like this before. Their leader will be hiding in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Helena nodded, her face hardened. Call the team in. Every agent must be ready. If these warheads move, this city is at risk. Bond activated his secure line. Marcus, assemble. Ethan, Lucas, Joseph, positions now. This is not a drill. The Syndicate's main agent received Bond's interception. He barked orders to his operatives, whose faces remained masked in the low light. They've found the cache. Prepare for immediate defense. Deploy the mechanical traps. Let the operative see what awaits him. The room filled with the soft hum of machinery as drones and automated defenses were armed. The warheads must stay. Bond will not leave without facing our full arsenal, the agent growled, his hands clenching the edge of the table. A subordinate called in, voice trembling slightly. Sir, the operative in the jeep is extremely skilled. This is not a normal field agent. The main agent's eyes darkened. Then he will be tested. Everything we planned will be executed. No mistakes. Bond moved with precision through the industrial district. Helena stayed close, occasionally whispering instructions to Marcus and Ethan over the secure comms. A sudden noise, a mechanical click, made Bond freeze. From the shadows, automated defense drones emerged, their sensors scanning for heat. Helena, get down! Bond yelled, sliding to the side and pulling her behind a steel crate. The drones fired a series of energy pulses. Bond returned fire with his compact rifle, taking careful shots at the drone's weak points. This is more than surveillance. They expected us, Helena muttered, her hands steady on her own weapon. Bond's mind raced. They're testing our reactions. Classic misdirection. The jeep's trap was just a lure. He tapped Marcus's comms. Mark targets, eliminate automated threats, but maintain stealth. We can't reveal our full strength yet. At the HQ, the Agent Superior, codenamed Superior Chief, watched live drone feeds of Bond's team navigating the sector. They're adapting fast. Increase resistance. Activate the hidden floors, collapsing supports. Force him to reveal his team. Orders were transmitted to field operatives, including Tiger and Joseph Calder's doppelgangers in the Veil Syndicate. Their mission: delay, distract, and gauge Bond's capabilities. Tiger's team prepared mechanical traps, using remote-controlled drones to harass Bond's line of advance. Joseph Calder's counterpart monitored Bond's communications, trying to identify weak points and predict his next move. Bond crouched beside Helena, his eyes scanning the layout of the warehouse. "Look," he whispered, pointing to a faint shadow by the crane. "That's the operator, main agent. He's observing, not acting yet." Helena's expression hardened. "We need more intel. If the warheads are already moved, we must locate them before they reach extraction." Bond's hand grazed his earpiece. "Lucas, tap into the surveillance grid. Joseph, I want foreign channels monitored. Any hint of Veil movement must be relayed instantly." As they proceeded, the distant rumble of heavy machinery grew louder. Bond knew the Syndicate's main agent was orchestrating everything remotely. Helena tightened her grip. "This isn't a simple raid, Bond. They're ready." Bond nodded. "Neither are we. But they won't get the first strike." Back at the Syndicate HQ, the Superior Chief barked orders. "If Bond breaches the perimeter, trigger sequence Alpha. Collapse the storage floors. We will see if he survives our engineering." Tiger's remote squad activated mechanical barricades, funneling Bond's team into confined zones designed for ambush. Joseph Calder's operative manipulated surveillance feeds, creating false pathways and shadows to mislead Bond. The main agent observed quietly, noting each of Bond's maneuvers. "He's clever. But no one escapes the Syndicate's full force unscathed." The low hum of machinery echoed through the abandoned warehouses. Bond crouched behind a rusted steel container, his eyes tracking every shadow. Helena Cross moved beside him, scanning with precision, her presence a constant anchor in the tense silence. "Every corner, every crate, could hide them," Helena muttered. Bond nodded, his fingers grazing the surface of his Walther. "And they've made sure to funnel us. Notice the collapsed floor sections and the false corridors? They want us to split up, or panic." Helena's gaze sharpened. "You always read the traps. Let's hope it's enough." They moved forward, silent, using the crates and machinery as cover. The faint sound of a diesel engine drew Bond's attention. A black Jeep appeared through a cracked warehouse door, its headlights cutting thin slivers of light across the floor. "There it is," Bond whispered, his jaw tight. "Tiger. That Jeep isn't just transport, it's bait. Observe, wait, and move." Helena's lips pressed into a thin line. "I hate waiting." Bond smirked faintly. "Patience is a weapon." He tapped his earpiece. "Marcus, position your men along the east corridor. Ethan, you're with me. Lucas, monitor surveillance. Any movement from the Jeep or shadows near it, report immediately." Inside the black Jeep, Tiger's eyes scanned the interior as he monitored remote feeds from the warehouse's internal cameras. Joseph Calder's counterpart sat in the passenger seat, laptop open, cross-referencing Bond's communications. "Bond is inside," Tiger said, voice low, tense. "He hasn't noticed the secondary trap yet." Joseph's fingers flew over the keyboard. "Activate sequence Delta. Force them toward the eastern corridor. Isolate them. Mechanical barriers and pressure-triggered floors. The Jeep's headlights suddenly dimmed, then flickered, projecting holographic shadows to confuse Bond's team. Drones whirred to life, their sensors scanning for heat signatures. Tiger leaned back, a thin grin on his face. He's clever, but let's see how clever he is with Alpha Delta in play. Bond signaled Helena to take cover behind a steel beam. From above, the drones swooped silently, their sensors locking onto movement. Energy pulses struck the floor where Marcus's team had been moments ago, forcing them to dodge, slide, and return fire. This is more than I anticipated, Marcus Hale muttered into his comms. They knew we'd be cautious. Bond's eyes narrowed. They wanted exactly this. Keep your heads. Focus fire on the drone's weak points. Don't let them split us. Helena moved beside him, firing controlled bursts at a drone hovering near the roof. Sparks flew as it collapsed to the ground. Not bad for industrial toys, she said grimly. Bond scanned the warehouse, noting the patterns. Tiger's controlling the drones, but he can't be everywhere. We find the Jeep, we find their eyes. Back at the HQ, the main agent leaned over the tactical display. Bond is engaging the drones. Initiate mechanical floor collapses and remote turret fire. Do not underestimate him. He's dangerous. Tiger's fingers danced across the Jeep's controls, activating a hidden ramp that funneled Bond and Helena toward a narrow passage. Joseph Calder's operative watched on a monitor. They've split. Bond is heading east. Activate false exit holograms. The Superior Chief's voice crackled over a secure channel. Tonight, we test their limits. Bond will not leave without cost. Make sure our traps are lethal but non-lethal if he survives. He is useful intelligence. Bond and Helena ducked under falling debris as a section of the floor collapsed. Helena grunted. They knew exactly where we'd step. Bond caught her elbow, steadying her. Precision. They want us visible, controlled, cornered. But we adapt. Move to the right, behind that crate. Lucas, status. A calm voice answered over the earpiece. Multiple intruders detected. Pressure sensors triggered at your last position. Drone sensors are online. Secondary traps armed. Bond muttered, perfect. Let them think they're ahead. We'll rewrite the script. He glanced at Helena. Follow my lead. Time to test the trap. They advanced, careful but relentless. The warehouse became a maze of shadows, machinery, and tension. Drones whirred, mechanical floors shifted, but Bond's calculation and Helena's precision kept them one step ahead. Tiger watched every monitor, his knuckles white as Bond and Helena navigated the traps with unexpected efficiency. They've adapted faster than anticipated, he muttered. Joseph's fingers flew over his keyboard. Redirect heat sensors, activate the pressure mines, trigger mechanical barriers. They can't anticipate everything. The Superior Chief leaned back, observing the live feeds. Bond is dangerous, but every move is predictable in his arrogance. Let the games begin. As they rounded a corner, Bond spotted the black Jeep again, parked strategically near the control hub. He crouched behind a crate. That Jeep isn't empty, he whispered to Helena. It holds more than surveillance. Tiger's controlling a series of traps remotely from it. Destroy it, we disable their command network. Helena's eyes narrowed. So we take the bait, or bypass it. Bond's lips curved. We take it. Carefully. Precision first, aggression second. With calculated steps, they advanced, firing selectively to disable the drones surrounding the Jeep. Sparks flew as circuits fried. Helena crouched beside Bond, covering him as he planted an EMP device. A faint hum, a click, and the Jeep's electronics went dark. Back at HQ, alarms blared. The Jeep is offline. Repeat, the Jeep is offline. Bond has neutralized the field command. Tiger cursed, slamming the dashboard. Joseph Calder's operative cursed under his breath. They've bypassed all holograms and misdirection feeds. They're too efficient. The superior chief's eyes narrowed. Then it's time for contingency plan Omega. Prepare the secondary assault. Tonight, the city will test Bond's limits. Bond tapped his earpiece, signaling Lucas. Scan for secondary feeds. Tiger and Joseph's operative positions. Any electronic traces left. Helena, mark the extraction routes. If they retreat, we follow. Helena's sharp eyes swept the area. They won't escape easily. Their mechanical defenses are down. This is our window. Bond crouched, glancing at the crates. Now, Marcus, Ethan, take positions. Secure the perimeter. If they move, we'll see them coming. The air was thick with tension, the sound of distant machinery humming as if holding its breath. Bond and Helena knew the first confrontation was over, but the syndicate had only begun. The superior chief in his HQ leaned back, a thin smile crossing his face. Tonight, the shadows will reveal everything. Bond thinks he's won the first move, but the game is far from over. Bond whispered to Helena, crouched behind the crates. They're clever, but predictable. Every trap, every shadow, leads somewhere. And we'll be waiting. Helena nodded. Let's make sure they regret underestimating us. The hum of electronics faded. The black Jeep lay inert, a temporary victory. But in the shadows, eyes watched, calculations made, and a far greater danger waited. Night had fallen, draping the city in shadows. The warehouse district, usually abandoned at this hour, now hummed with the anticipation of conflict. Bond crouched atop a rusted shipping container, binoculars sweeping over the perimeter. Helena Cross joined him silently, her eyes scanning the rooftops. Every exit, every potential landing zone, accounted for? Helena asked, voice calm but tense. Bond flicked his wrist, checking the digital map Lucas had fed into his watch. Every inch. But that doesn't mean they won't improvise. Tiger's not the type to leave it to chance, and Joseph loves his surprises. Helena smirked faintly. Surprises? You thrive on them. Don't pretend otherwise. Bond's eyes narrowed on a faint glint near the warehouse's rooftop. Heat signature. Possibly a sniper. Cover your flank, Helena. A low hum vibrated through the air. The drones had been reactivated. Bond clicked his earpiece. Lucas, status? Multiple drones reactivated. Secondary floor traps armed. Tigers coordinating from the Jeep. Probability of ambush extremely high. Bond exhaled slowly. Then we go in prepared. Everyone, positions. Marcus Hale's voice crackled over comms. Perimeter secured. Awaiting your lead, Bond. Ethan Ward moved beside Bond, silent and lethal as always. Let's end their little parade, he muttered. Inside the now dark warehouse, Tiger's fingers danced across the Jeep's dashboard, sending commands to mechanical traps, surveillance drones, and the reinforced gates. Joseph Calder's operative, monitoring multiple screens, reported sharply. Bond is observing from height. He knows our previous patterns. Must adjust traps. Tiger leaned back, calm but focused. Adaptive traps won't be enough. Initiate Omega Plan. Activate the reinforced floor sections, pressure-triggered explosives, and automated turrets. Make them sweat. The Superior Chief's voice came over a secure line. Tonight, Bond will learn the cost of underestimating the Veil Syndicate. Make sure he doesn't leave without paying. But remember, he is useful. Observe, collect intel. Don't lose him yet. Joseph smiled thinly. He won't escape our choreography. Bond led Helena and Ethan through a narrow service corridor. The sound of their footsteps echoed ominously. Above them, drones swarmed like predatory birds. Bond activated a small EMP grenade, frying a cluster of sensors and forcing a temporary retreat. "Nicely done," Helena said, nodding. "Not yet," Bond murmured, still watching for the mechanical floors. A loud rumble shook the corridor as sections of the floor collapsed ahead of them. Ethan dove forward, catching Bond's arm. Helena rolled, narrowly avoiding a falling beam. "Too easy for them," Bond muttered. "They're not just setting traps, they're reading us." The corridor split into multiple pathways. Bond signaled Helena. "Left. Follow me. Keep eyes open." Tiger activated turrets hidden in reinforced crates. Target moving heat signatures. Trap them in the eastern corridor. Joseph adjusted his laptop, monitoring the pressure sensors. "They're splitting. Activate floor collapses in secondary zones. Force them into the kill box." The Superior Chief observed via live feeds. Bond is clever, but not infallible. Push him. Observe reactions. Tonight, the stakes are high. Bond and Helena reached a large, open chamber. The black jeep, now partially covered by debris from their previous encounter, sat ominously in the center. Drones swarmed the area, firing pulses that sizzled against the steel walls. Bond signaled Ethan. "Take the east flank. Helena, with me. We move fast. We disable them before they regroup." Helena's voice was a whisper. "This is going to get messy." Bond flicked his wrist, triggering a concealed mini-drone to scout ahead. Sparks flew as they approached the jeep. Tiger's holographic feed flickered in the vehicle's interior. He was monitoring, waiting. Suddenly, automated turrets erupted from the walls. Bond rolled behind a stack of crates, Helena beside him, firing precise shots to disable the closest turrets. Ethan charged through, using brute force to knock over additional barriers. Bond muttered under his breath, eyes scanning for a weak point. "Tiger's command hub here." He pointed to a panel near the jeep. "If we disable it, the rest will fall." Tiger noticed Bond moving toward the command hub. "He's here, too soon. Activate floor traps. Secondary ambush zones open." Joseph's operative panicked slightly. "They're cutting through the drones. Turrets are falling." The Superior Chief leaned forward, a rare trace of worry crossing his face. "Bond's efficiency is unnerving. Keep him occupied. Trap him in the kill box." Bond and Helena moved with precision. Using a combination of EMP blasts and carefully targeted gunfire, they disabled the drones and the turrets guarding the jeep. Bond pried open the command panel and inserted a signal jammer, frying Tiger's control system. The jeep's headlights flickered and went dark. Tiger cursed, losing visibility on the team. Helena's eyes scanned the perimeter. "We've got a clear path to the secondary warehouse now. They won't know what hit them." Bond nodded. "Good. Lucas, feed coordinates. Marcus, prep extraction routes. Ethan, stay alert. they'll throw surprises. Tiger, now cut off from remote control, watched helplessly from inside the Jeep. Joseph tried to reboot the system, but failed. The superior chief's voice cut through. They've disrupted the command hub? Impossible. Prepare contingency theta. Bond will pay for this oversight. Bond whispered to Helena, crouched behind crates, eyes on the now disabled Jeep. They thought they could control us. But we're not moving pieces, they are. And this game is just beginning. Helena smirked. Let's finish this round, then plan the next. The warehouse loomed ahead like a dark, foreboding giant. Moonlight glinted off metal beams and shipping containers, casting elongated shadows. Bond crouched behind a low crate, scanning the exterior. Helena Cross stood beside him, her eyes cold and calculating. Are the rest of the team in position? Helena asked, voice tight. Marcus and Ethan are covering the east flank. Lucas is feeding me live drone visuals. Tiger's control hub is down, but Joseph's still a wild card, Bond replied, adjusting his silencer. Helena raised an eyebrow. I like it when you sound calm in chaos. Makes me wonder if you're human at all. Bond smirked. Human enough to get the job done. Let's move. They slipped through the shadows toward a secondary entrance. The floor creaked lightly, and Bond froze, ears straining. Helena's hand rested briefly on his arm, a silent signal to proceed cautiously. A faint flicker of movement, Joseph's operative scouting the corridor, caught Bond's eye. He whispered, left. 2 steps, then freeze. They moved with precision, bypassing motion sensors and pressure-triggered plates, until they reached the warehouse interior. Inside, Joseph Calder's fingers flew over a tablet, orchestrating their next move. Bond is advancing. He'll try to extract the warheads. Prepare contingency theta. Reinforce all internal corridors. Tiger, deploy your men to intercept. Do not let them reach the secondary storage. Tiger growled, a low rumble of frustration. They've already disabled half my drones. But we'll make them pay. Pressure plates, flamethrowers, and automated turrets are ready. The superior chief's voice cut through the comms. Joseph, Tiger, tonight, Bond learns that the Veil Syndicate does not forgive mistakes. Observe everything. Collect intel if possible. Do not underestimate him. Joseph smirked. We've prepared every possible scenario. Almost everyone. As Bond and Helena entered the secondary warehouse, they were immediately confronted with a maze of reinforced steel crates and mechanical traps. Pressure plates clicked underfoot. A series of lasers crisscrossed the floor. Helena whispered, we need to move fast. Every second counts. Bond nodded. Ethan, Marcus, cover us. We'll handle the obstacles. He activated a small EMP grenade, temporarily disabling a cluster of floor traps. Helena followed his lead, rolling under a low-hanging laser. Sparks danced dangerously close to her hair. Nice timing, she murmured, a trace of awe in her voice. Bond smiled briefly. I told you, chaos is my comfort zone. Joseph's operative yelled from the control room. They've reached the interior. Turrets are engaging, but they're neutralizing them one by one. Tiger slammed a fist against the Jeep's dashboard, anger boiling. They'll regret this. Release the flamethrower units. Cut off the west corridor. The superior chief leaned forward, watching multiple screens. Bond is clever, but remember, our contingency theta is ready. This is the final chess move. Finally, Bond and Helena reached the storage area. The warheads were stacked neatly. dormant but deadly. Bond's eyes scanned the surrounding space. Lucas, confirm structural integrity. Marcus, Ethan, hold the perimeter. Helena knelt beside the nearest container. These are the ones the Veil Syndicate planned to smuggle out. We can't let them leave here. Bond tapped his earpiece. X9, we have eyes on the primary targets. Extraction in process. Expect resistance. As if on cue, automated turrets erupted from hidden panels, and a wave of Syndicate operatives rushed from the shadows. Helena, right side. Bond shouted, rolling to take cover behind a crate. Helena returned fire, precise and lethal, taking down 2 operatives before they could react. Ethan charged forward with brute force, knocking back a 3rd operative, while Marcus coordinated the perimeter with pinpoint accuracy. Bond spotted Tiger attempting to flank them from a catwalk above. "I've got the heavy one," he muttered, activating a grappling line to ascend quickly. Tiger's eyes burned with fury as he aimed his rifle downward, taking careful shots. Joseph watched the unfolding chaos, trying to maintain control via drones. "Hold the line. Stop them from taking the warheads," Joseph barked. The superior chief remained silent, observing, but his hand hovered over a red button, ready to activate a contingency that could wipe out both Bond and the warehouse if necessary. Bond launched himself onto the catwalk, engaging Tiger in hand-to-hand combat. Sparks flew as punches connected with steel beams and reinforced machinery. Helena, Ethan, and Marcus worked in tandem to secure the warheads, fending off incoming operatives. From the control room, Joseph realized they were losing control. He gritted his teeth. "No, they cannot win." The superior chief's calm voice echoed over the comms. "Prepare contingency Theta. The game is far from over." Bond gritted his teeth as Tiger swung a heavy pipe at him. "You've underestimated me before, and you will again," Bond growled, deflecting the attack. Helena covered the other side, while Ethan and Marcus moved the first of the warheads toward the extraction point. The warheads were finally secured in the heavy-duty containers, each one humming with barely contained energy. Bond crouched behind a reinforced crate, sweat trickling down his temple, as Helena cross-loaded the last of the devices onto the trolley. "Marcus, Ethan, status?" Bond asked, scanning the shadows. "Perimeters secure for now, but the west flank's heating up," Marcus replied, eyes narrowing as the sound of gunfire echoed in the metal warehouse. Ethan's silent growl answered for him as he planted suppressors along the exit corridor. Bond exhaled slowly. "All right, time to move. Extraction is a go." Lucas Reed's voice crackled over earpieces, jittery but precise. "Bond, drones show heavy movement outside. The Syndicate is reorganizing, and they're bringing reinforcements." Helena glanced at Bond, eyebrow raised. "You always attract trouble." Bond smirked. "You think I don't know? Let's get these warheads out before the real fun begins." Joseph Calder slammed his fist on the console. "They've taken the warheads. Activate Plan Omega." Tiger roared, releasing flamethrower units into the corridors, while other operatives activated automated turrets hidden throughout the warehouse. From a distant control room, the superior chief observed calmly. "The operative Bond is skilled, but we've engineered this scenario. Let's see if he survives our retake." Joseph's fingers flew over his tablet, rerouting laser grids and triggering concealed explosives to delay the CID team. Bond led Helena and the team through a maze of smoke, fire, and debris. Sparks erupted from damaged turrets, cutting streaks of light across the warehouse walls. "Keep moving. Don't stop," Bond shouted, vaulting over a fallen metal beam. Helena rolled beside him, firing a silenced pistol at a Syndicate operative attempting to flank them. "You're lucky I didn't bring my A-game," she muttered, smirking. Bond's eyes flicked to Tiger ascending from a catwalk, flamethrower in hand. "And you, my friend, are a very persistent obstacle." He hurled a smoke grenade at Tiger, obscuring his vision just enough for Ethan to take him down from behind with brute force. Marcus and Ryan Cole helped secure the trolley loaded with warheads. Joseph Calder observed the chaos with frustration. "They're too coordinated. Tiger's down, yet they keep advancing." The Superior Chief, seated in shadows, pressed a button activating an emergency lockdown. Steel shutters slammed over warehouse exits, forcing Bond's team into a smaller kill zone. "This is going to get interesting," Helena whispered, checking ammo. Joseph chuckled coldly. "Interesting for whom?" "Bond won't see this coming." Bond's communicator buzzed. "X9 here. Extraction chopper inbound. ETA 3 minutes. Keep the perimeter until arrival." Bond nodded. "Helena, Lucas, cover fire. Marcus, Ethan, Ryan, secure the warheads and prepare to move. We're going vertical." Outside, a military-grade helicopter descended, rotor blades slicing the night air. Bond signaled with infrared markers for precision landing amidst the chaos. Suddenly, turrets and Syndicate snipers erupted from upper catwalks, bullets ricocheting off the metal walls. "Move, move!" Bond shouted as Helena loaded the containers into the helicopter. Bond engaged 2 operatives with rapid, precise strikes while simultaneously fending off incoming fire. Joseph's voice boomed through the comms. "No extraction. Bring it down." Tiger, recovering from his previous defeat, climbed onto a reinforced walkway, manning a heavy automatic cannon. Flames and smoke engulfed the area, cutting off easy exit routes. The Superior Chief observed calmly, his hand hovering over the remote trigger for a hidden explosive device. "Bond will push through, or die trying." The helicopter lifted off just as the warehouse erupted in flames. Bond scanned below, spotting Tiger climbing onto a nearby rooftop, flares in hand. "Marcus, Ryan, cover our rear. Lucas, provide live feed." Bond barked, strapping in while holding a secure harness for the warheads. Helena fired a precision shot from the helicopter, taking out a sniper aiming at the rotor assembly. Bond leaned out slightly, spotting Tiger attempting to jump onto the helicopter's skid. With a swift, calculated move, he kicked Tiger off balance, sending him sprawling onto the warehouse roof below. "Smooth," Helena muttered dryly. Bond smirked, gripping the warhead container. "All in a night's work." Joseph Calder slammed his fist into the console. "Impossible. How did they get the warheads?" The Superior Chief's eyes narrowed. "This is far from over. Bond will pay for this. Activate Phase Sigma. No mistakes." Inside the helicopter, Bond and his team exhaled in short bursts. Helena checked the warheads one last time. "All secure. For now." Bond's eyes scanned the horizon, the city lights reflecting off the rotor blades. "For now," he repeated, knowing full well that the Veil Syndicate would strike back harder and faster than ever. The helicopter banked over the city, rotor blades slicing through the cold night air. Inside, Bond secured the warhead containers while Helena Cross scanned the digital feed from Lucas Reed's drones. "Status?" Bond asked, voice calm but tense. "Minor damage on the containers, but everything's intact," Lucas replied, his voice jittery through the comms. "However, I've never seen firepower like that. Tiger's backup isn't ordinary. They've upgraded weapon systems overnight." Bond's jaw tightened. I expected nothing less from the Veil Syndicate. They always anticipate, always escalate. Helena's eyes flickered toward Bond. You think they know we've secured the warheads? Not yet, Bond said, his tone cold. But when Phase Sigma activates, they'll know exactly who's responsible. And we'll be ready. In the shadowed control room of a hidden facility, Joseph Calder grinned as a massive digital map of the city lit the room. Phase Sigma, he announced. Engage all units. Bond has taken the warheads, but we can't allow him to complete extraction. Every asset is online. Drones, snipers, automated artillery, full lockdown mode. Tiger's voice growled from a nearby comm station. And Bond? What about him? Leave him to me, Joseph said, fingers flying over the tablet. We'll see if the infamous operative survives the trap. From a darker corner, the superior chief observed silently, his hands folded, his eyes cold. He will survive, but his team, they will pay. And the city will remember Phase Sigma. Bond moved quickly, issuing silent hand signals to his team. Marcus, Ethan, double rear watch. Ryan, Tiger's route is predictable. Anticipate and intercept. Lucas, feed me live satellite overlay. Helena, monitor comm chatter for Phase Sigma triggers. Helena raised an eyebrow, impressed by his comm efficiency. You make it sound too easy. Bond smirked. Only because failure isn't an option. Within moments, drones buzzed over the rooftops, and Lucas' voice alerted them. Multiple enemy units moving fast. They're converging from the east and west. Phase Sigma is live. Bond's eyes scanned the skyline. We're about to meet them head-on. Below, Tiger and Joseph's operatives moved in coordinated strikes, armed with experimental weaponry designed to neutralize Bond's team before extraction could be completed. Bond's team responded with brutal efficiency. Ethan Ward moved like a shadow, neutralizing 3 armed operatives silently. Marcus Hale coordinated sniper cover from the rooftops. Ryan Cole, young and impulsive, engaged in rapid close combat, learning to pace under Bond's silent guidance. Helena Cross directed tactical maneuvers, ensuring every escape route for the warheads was covered. From Joseph's perspective, he observed Bond's movement with irritation. He adapts too fast, Joseph muttered. Tiger, flank him now. Make him regret this night. Tiger roared, vaulting from rooftop to rooftop, launching a series of explosive charges. Bond reacted instantly, calculating trajectories and using minimal exposure to dodge and return fire. The city's abandoned industrial district became a war zone. Bullets shredded walls, and smoke filled the air. Bond signaled to Ryan Cole. Cover that alleyway. Tiger's secondary route. Now. Ryan dove into position, narrowly avoiding a blast that sent debris flying. Ethan, beside Bond, dispatched an operative silently, leaving no trace. Helena, ever sharp, whispered, Bond, there's something different. They've combined AI-driven drones with live fire units. Bond's lips tightened. Exactly why we move now. Warheads first, enemy second. Always the priority. He ducked behind a steel girder as a drone hovered menacingly, its sensors scanning for heat signatures. Bond triggered a nearby electrical box, frying the drone circuits and sending it crashing to the ground. Joseph's frustration grew. Impossible. Every unit neutralized. Every trap circumvented. Tiger gritted his teeth. They've seen it coming. They're professionals. But we have more. The superior chief finally spoke, voice cutting through the comms. Activate the secret protocol. Let's see if Bond can survive this. Suddenly, EMP pulses scrambled communications and weapon systems in a radius, testing the CID team's adaptability. Joseph grinned cruelly. Phase Sigma complete. Now let's see how they respond without tech support. Bond's eyes narrowed as the EMP disrupted their instruments. Lucas Reed's comms faltered, and the drone feed went dark. Tech down, Bond said. Time for Plan B. Marcus Hale nodded. Manual operation. No drones, no signals. Pure strategy and muscle. Bond glanced at Helena, who smiled faintly. We've trained for this. Let's move. One by one, the team navigated the labyrinthine industrial complex using hand signals, intuition, and lethal precision. Every operative from Joseph's side was neutralized without further damage to the warheads. Bond whispered to Helena, Phase Sigma was just a test. They didn't anticipate we'd adapt faster than they could react. By the time the last warhead was loaded into the extraction helicopter, Bond's team had cleared a path through Phase Sigma's chaos. Joseph Calder slammed his fist against the console. This isn't over, Bond. Not by a long shot. The Superior Chief's shadowed gaze followed the helicopter as it lifted away. Next time, we won't fail. Bond exhaled, tension easing slightly. Helena, for now, extraction complete. But mark my words, this is far from finished. Helena smirked. I'll hold you to that, Bond. But first, let's get these warheads to safety. The helicopter vanished into the night sky, carrying not only the warheads but the calm before the inevitable storm. The early dawn painted the horizon in bruised purples and oranges as the helicopter settled in a secluded safe house near the coastline. Bond stepped out first, scanning the perimeter with the sharpness of a predator. Helena Cross followed, her expression unreadable but alert. Everything secured? She asked, her voice calm but carrying an undercurrent of tension. Warheads are intact for now, Bond replied, his eyes still sweeping for threats. But I have a feeling the Veil Syndicate isn't done. Phase Sigma was just the warm-up. Lucas Reed's voice crackled in Bond's earpiece. Sensors picked up unusual movement east of the safe house. Multiple unidentified units, approaching fast. Bond's lips tightened. Then we prepare. Everyone take positions. Tiger, Ryan, Ethan, defensive perimeter. Marcus, I want overwatch. Helena crossed her arms, smirk curling her lips. You always jump straight into the fire, Bond. Bond's half-smile didn't reach his eyes. Some of us enjoy it. In a hidden facility, Joseph Calder and the Superior Chief watched as a series of armored transports moved into position under the cover of early light. Operation Eclipse begins now, Joseph commanded. Bond believes he's safe. Let's test that assumption. Tiger's massive silhouette appeared on a surveillance screen. They won't even see me coming. The Superior Chief leaned forward, voice cold and precise. Remember, this isn't just about retrieving warheads. Bond himself is a target. I want him traced, tested, and stopped, without a single misstep from our side. Joseph's fingers danced across the digital map. Every street, every alley, every drone in the city, monitoring. He won't escape our net this time. Bond crouched behind a stack of shipping containers as Ryan Cole, young and impulsive, whispered from a nearby vantage point, "They're too organized. Too many units." "Exactly why we divide and conquer," Bond murmured. "Ethan, sweep left. Tiger, cover right flank. Marcus, keep overwatch. Helena, coordinate movement. Lucas, I want constant eyes on every street corner. A sudden roar pierced the air. Automated drones hovered menacingly, sensors scanning for heat. Tiger stepped forward, heavy boots crunching on gravel, ready to intercept the first wave. Bond muttered under his breath, "Phase Sigma was one thing. This is Operation Eclipse." Helena smirked, voice low. "And you're still calm?" Bond's lips curled slightly. "Always." From Joseph's perspective, the city streets were a battlefield of chaos carefully orchestrated. Operatives moved with military precision, blending drones, armored vehicles, and human assault units. "Remember your objectives," Joseph said. "Neutralize Bond, secure any intel, and retrieve what was taken." Tiger vaulted from rooftop to rooftop, explosive charges in hand, creating diversions. Joseph's plan was simple: overwhelm, isolate, eliminate. Meanwhile, Bond's team adapted with lethal efficiency. Ethan Ward eliminated 2 armored operatives silently, while Ryan Cole learned to anticipate drone movement and counter it effectively. Helena's voice guided everyone through the chaos, pinpointing threats before they materialized. Bond dove behind cover as a drone fired a pulse shot that shattered steel girders nearby. He rolled to his feet, firing a precise shot that disabled the drone, then sprinted toward a cluster of incoming enemy operatives. Bond led the team toward an extraction point near the docks. Unbeknownst to them, Joseph Calder had planted a sophisticated ambush, hidden explosives, sniper nests, and remotely controlled turrets. "Bond's predictable," Joseph whispered to Tiger. "He always prioritizes protection over attack. Let's see how he handles this." The first explosion rocked the warehouse, sending crates and debris flying. Marcus Hale countered from the roof, taking out a sniper with a clean shot. Tiger clashed with 2 heavily armed operatives, his brute strength making short work of them, but the continuous assault forced the team into a tight defensive formation. Bond moved like a shadow, calculating angles, trajectories, and enemy positions. He whispered into his comm, "Phase Beta initiated. Move the warheads to secondary extraction. Helena, guide the perimeter sweep. Lucas, feed me live overlays." Joseph's fingers drummed against his console. "They adapt too quickly. Tiger, fall back. Deploy secondary units. This is going to require all our assets." The superior chief remained silent, eyes narrowed. "They survive this, and it'll cost them everything else. Prepare for countermeasures. Bond thrives on improvisation. Turn the tables." Drones equipped with electromagnetic pulses swooped in, attempting to disable communication and weaponry. Joseph's tactical genius was on full display, yet every move Bond made countered his expectations. Bond's team moved in synchrony despite the chaos. Using EMP interference as cover, they neutralized turrets and manually disabled drone units. Helena's voice guided precise maneuvers, while Ethan, Ryan, and Tiger created safe paths for the warheads. Bond reached the final checkpoint, a massive reinforced gate controlled remotely. Lucas whispered, "I can't override it remotely. Too many interference signals." Bond smirked. "Leave it to me." With practiced precision, he scaled the gate, manually disarming the lock, and signaled for the team to proceed. The warheads were secure, the extraction point ready. But Bond's eyes never left the skyline. He knew Joseph Calder would not let this end quietly. Just as the helicopter blades began to whirl, a shadow detached itself from a nearby rooftop. A sniper's laser dot glowed on Bond's chest. Helena whispered sharply, "Incoming." Bond dove instinctively, dragging the nearest warhead container with him. The bullet hit steel, sending sparks into the night air. From the rooftop, Joseph Calder watched with a sinister grin. Not over, Bond. Not by a long shot. Bond's eyes met Helena's, both understanding the silent agreement. They'd survived Operation Eclipse tonight, but the war, and the Veil Syndicate, would strike again. The helicopter lifted off, carrying not just the warheads, but the promise of an escalating war between Bond and the Syndicate. The helicopter hovered above the coastline as Bond and Helena Cross scanned the city lights below. The wind whipped against their faces, carrying the faint smell of salt and smoke from distant fires. "Extraction successful," Bond murmured, his eyes narrowing on the horizon. But Joseph Calder won't sit idle. He's planning something bigger. Helena adjusted her earpiece. HQ reports minor disturbances, false alarms, security breaches. Could be probing attacks. Or he's setting the stage for the next phase. Bond's gaze sharpened. Then we hit preemptively. I want Tiger and Ryan positioned on the high-rises. Ethan, Marcus, cover the perimeter. Lucas, I need a full scan of the Syndicate's suspected HQ. Lucas's hands flew over his console. Signal interference is heavy. Satellite feeds are blocked. Someone's jamming comms. Bond smirked. Then we improvise. In the darkened war room of the Syndicate's HQ, Joseph Calder paced like a caged predator. The superior chief stood behind him, cold and calculating. Phase Eclipse was only the appetizer, Joseph said, voice low and dangerous. Phase Phantom starts tonight. Bond thinks he can outrun us, but this time the hunt comes to him. The superior chief's eyes glinted. Ensure no operatives survive this. Bond's interference is costly. We remove him and strike fear into CID simultaneously. Joseph tapped on a holographic map. Every route, every escape point, trapped. EMP drones, sniper nests, remote turrets. And this time, we add a layer of unpredictability. Double agents within the city. Back at the CID safehouse, Bond convened a rapid strategy session. Joseph's aiming to strike HQ directly, Bond said, his voice cutting through the tension. We're expecting infiltrators, tech sabotage, and heavy assault units. Helena folded her arms, studying Bond. And what's your plan? Bond's grin was almost casual. We defend, counter, and trace. If Calder sends in drones, we scramble them. If he sends in humans, Tiger and Ryan intercept. If he strikes with tech, Lucas and I will neutralize the signals. Helena's brow arched. You make it sound simple. Bond shrugged, tone wry. Nothing worth doing is ever simple. From the Syndicate's perspective, the city's skyline was alive with movement. Joseph's elite operatives infiltrated in stealth drones, cloaked vehicles, and even disguised personnel. Bond underestimates me, Joseph whispered. We can strike simultaneously at HQ and at key supply depots. Let's force him into the open. Tiger moved silently through alleyways, his eyes trained on the CID coordinates. Target acquired. Shall I initiate? Joseph's finger hovered over the command console. Not yet. Wait for my signal. I want him surprised. Make him chase shadows first. At CID HQ, alarms blared. Lucas Reed's monitors displayed rapid flashes of movement around the perimeter. They're already here, Lucas shouted. Multiple entry points, thermal readings confirm. Bond's eyes were sharp, calculating. Helena, coordinate lockdown. Ethan, Marcus, defensive positions. Tiger, intercept. The first wave hit, 2 operatives trying to breach the eastern gate. Ethan neutralized them silently, while Ryan took down a drone hovering above the entrance. Bond's hands were steady on his sidearm, eyes constantly scanning. Too organized, Helena muttered. This isn't a random strike. They've studied our patterns. Bond's jaw tightened. Then we adjust patterns. Improvisation is our ally tonight. Suddenly, a familiar voice crackled through Lucas's earpiece, distorted but unmistakable. Bond, you can't trust all signals. One of your own is feeding us coordinates. Bond froze. Julia, he whispered, suspicion flickering in his eyes. No, Helena replied sharply. Signal is spoofed. Calder's trying to trick us. From the Syndicate's HQ, Joseph's grin widened. Watch them scramble. Let's see how they handle misdirection. The Syndicate unleashed a coordinated onslaught, drones with EMP pulses, sniper teams on rooftops, and small stealth squads infiltrating from adjacent buildings. Bond's team adapted instantly. Tiger intercepted stealth squads, Ryan provided rapid response backups, Ethan neutralized drones, and Marcus maintained aerial overwatch with remote sensors. Bond moved like a shadow, recalibrating strategies on the fly. Helena directed movement with clinical precision, ensuring every team member covered blind spots. Lucas, feed me the live overlays, Bond instructed. We'll trace the double agent's signal through the interference. Helena, I need you ready to move the HQ evac points. Joseph Calder finally emerged from the shadows, his figure framed against the city skyline. A high-powered sniper rifle gleamed in his hands, targeting Bond through a small opening. Bond noticed the glint, lunged behind cover, and fired a precise shot that detonated a nearby electrical box, temporarily blinding Joseph's line of sight. Tiger and Ryan moved in, clearing the path for Helena to lead the team to a safer position. Joseph cursed under his breath, his plan faltering. Impossible. They adapt too quickly. Bond's voice, calm and lethal, echoed. Adaptation isn't optional, Calder. It's survival. As the first wave of the Syndicate was neutralized, Bond contacted X9 via encrypted line. Phase Phantom partially thwarted, Bond reported. But Joseph Calder isn't done. He's regrouping, recalibrating, and he knows our patterns now. X9's voice was low, commanding. Then prepare for the next phase, Bond. The Syndicate will strike harder, and this time, nothing will be predictable. Helena glanced at Bond, tension in her eyes. How many phases do you think there are? Bond's half-smile returned. Until they make the final mistake. And I'll be there when they do. From a distant rooftop, Joseph Calder watched, smirk curling. Bond, tonight is only the beginning. The early morning light barely touched the city skyline when Bond crouched behind a concrete barricade, Helena Cross by his side. The aftermath of the Syndicate strike at HQ still smoldered, smoke rising from scorched vehicles, alarms echoing in the distance. Damage report? Bond asked, scanning the perimeter with binoculars. Lucas Reed's voice came through their earpieces. Structural integrity of HQ stable, but several security nodes compromised. Drones and stealth squads confirmed neutralized. However, Calder's signals show multiple pockets regrouping nearby. Bond's jaw tightened. Good. That means he's overextended. Helena, we need Tiger and Ryan to sweep the south sector. Ethan, Marcus, hold positions here. I'm going in for extraction. Helena frowned. Bond, that area is crawling with Calder's tech operatives. You can't just walk in. Bond smirked faintly, eyes glinting with determination. That's why I don't walk. I adapt. In a dimly lit command center, Joseph Calder slammed his fist on the console. Faye's phantom failed, he hissed. Bond survived, and the CID's core operatives are intact. This was supposed to be a decisive strike. The superior chief's eyes gleamed in the shadows. He underestimated our reach. Now, we escalate. Calder, you'll lead extraction and counterintelligence teams. Faye's Requiem begins tonight. Joseph's fingers danced over the holographic map. We'll hit them where they least expect. Supply lines, safe houses, local assets. And we set traps for Bond himself. He won't see this coming. Bond moved silently through a series of abandoned warehouses, the city's early bustle masking his approach. He reached the extraction point, a safe house where crucial intelligence on Calder's operations had been secured. Lucas's voice guided him. Signal shows Calder's agents moving along the south corridor. 2 armored units, 5 tech specialists, a sniper. Bond's hand hovered near his concealed sidearm. Noted. Helena, coordinate air support. Tiger, Ryan, flank from north. Ethan and Marcus, cover me if I get compromised. Helena's calm tone contrasted the tension. Extraction priority is the intel. You can't afford any heroics. Bond's half-smile returned. Heroics are optional. Survival isn't. Joseph Calder, monitoring Bond's movements through intercepted communications, chuckled. He thinks he's clever. Let's see how he handles a little chaos. From concealed positions, Calder's operatives deployed EMP drones and triggered false signals to mislead Bond's team. Streets lit briefly as holographic projections masked real movements. Bond's predictable, Joseph murmured, always reacts before analyzing fully. That's when the strike hits. Bond observed a black jeep creeping along the perimeter. His instincts flared. That's Tiger's mark. But I see interference. Someone's feeding him false signals. Helena's voice was sharp. Split focus, Bond. You can't trust everything you see. Bond's hand moved to a concealed tracker, scanning for anomalies. Lucas, override interference. I need live coordinates for all hostile units, now. Lucas worked rapidly. Coordinates locked. Enemy in 3 sectors, north, south, east. 2 armored convoys heading your way. Bond's mind raced. Perfect. Helena, Tiger, Ryan, north intercept. Ethan, Marcus, east choke point. I'll handle south corridor and intel extraction. The south corridor erupted in sudden chaos. Bond rolled behind crates, taking down 2 tech specialists silently. A sniper's laser aimed at his chest. He pivoted, sending a precise shot that disabled the rifle. Tiger and Ryan neutralized the convoy approaching from the north. Ethan and Marcus held the east, disabling enemy drones mid-air. Helena directed the team with surgical precision, ensuring no one was exposed unnecessarily. Bond secured the intel, glancing at the holographic data pad. Got it. Now, exfil. Suddenly, Joseph Calder's voice boomed through a hacked comm channel. Bond, you can't escape. Phase Requiem is underway. Bond's grin was sharp. Requiem. I prefer improvisation. A helicopter descended at the extraction point. Bond vaulted inside with the intel, Lucas confirming perimeter security from above. Enemy units converging, Lucas warned. You have less than 90 seconds before engagement escalates. Bond's calm voice sliced through tension. Hold steady. Tiger, Ryan, clear the landing zone. Helena, prep for aerial coverage. The helicopter lifted, weaving between skyscrapers. Below, Calder's operatives tried to intercept with drones and gunfire. but Bond's team had predicted the ambush. Tiger's brute force and Ryan's agility neutralized the last of the threats. From the Syndicate's HQ, Joseph Calder slammed a fist on his console. Impossible! He outmaneuvered every trap. The Superior Chief leaned over, voice cold. This isn't over. Bond has the intel, yes, but Phase Requiem is only the beginning. Prepare Phase Nemesis. We strike tomorrow, and this time, the city will bleed. Bond, safely inside the helicopter with Helena and the team, glanced at the glowing skyline. They'll try again, but every time they strike, we adapt. That's the only way to survive Calder. Helena's gaze was steady. Then we make sure we're always one step ahead. Bond's eyes flicked to the horizon. Always one step ahead. That's the only rule that matters. The city's skyline shimmered with the first glint of dawn, but Bond's eyes remained fixed on the horizon. In his hand, the intelligence pad glowed softly, data streams of Calder's operations dancing across the screen. Helena Cross stood next to him, her sharp eyes scanning the streets below. Bond, the intel shows multiple Syndicate convoys moving toward civilian zones, Helena said, her voice calm yet tense. Bond's jaw clenched. They're trying to spread chaos, create diversions. But they still underestimate us. Lucas Reed's voice buzzed through the earpiece, slightly strained. Sir, multiple EMP drones detected in the northern sector. They're attempting to black out city comms. Coordination could get messy. Bond's smirk was thin, sharp. Then we'll light it up differently. Tiger, Ryan, northern sector. Ethan, Marcus, cover me and Helena. I'm going in to intercept Calder's forward cell. Helena's brows furrowed. Bond, this isn't just another skirmish. Their firepower alone. Helena, I know. That's why we adapt, improvise, and strike first. Bond's eyes flicked to the distance. Let's move. In a shadowed command center, Joseph Calder's fingers danced across the holographic interface, orchestrating chaos with meticulous precision. Phase Nemesis begins now, Calder announced, his voice low but commanding. Deploy strike convoys to distract CID, initiate citywide blackout, and prepare the ambush at the atomic storage site. Bond will walk into our trap, whether he likes it or not. The Superior Chief's shadowed figure moved silently behind Calder. Remember, he's resourceful. He'll anticipate half of it. The other half must be absolute surprise. No errors. Understood, Calder muttered. All units are briefed. Tonight, the city bleeds, and Bond's rules end here. Bond moved silently along rooftops, the morning fog giving him cover. Below, the Syndicate's agents moved with precise coordination, unaware that every movement was being calculated, predicted, and countered. Lucas's voice crackled through. Sir, I've mapped the entire convoy. Calder's forward cell is smaller than predicted, but heavily armed. Sniper positions confirmed, EMP nodes active. Bond glanced at Helena. Perfect. Minimal units. Maximal effect. Helena, initiate secondary perimeter lockdown. Nobody leaves unnoticed. Helena nodded, her fingers flying over the tablet interface. Perimeter lockdown in progress. Tiger, Ryan, North Corridor. Ethan, Marcus, cover extraction routes. Bond's smirk returned. Then let's give Calder a show he won't forget. Calder watched from his HQ as Bond's team approached the forward cell. He thinks he's clever, Calder said, his voice cold. But our ambush is ready. Activate EMP and intercept. Let's see how he handles the chaos. The Superior Chief leaned forward, voice low and lethal. Remember, Calder. Bond is skilled, but predictable. Hit him where he hesitates. Calder's fingers pushed a command sequence. EMP drones hummed as they lifted silently into the air, masking Bond's approach with interference signals. As Bond entered the forward cell's warehouse, alarms flared, a decoy set by Calder. Bond rolled behind a metal crate, taking 2 guards down with silent precision. Tiger and Ryan disabled the drone units, their brute force clearing the northern corridor. Ethan and Marcus neutralized a concealed sniper nest. Helena's comm commands kept the team synchronized. Bond retrieved the intel cache, but as he moved to exit, a black jeep crested the ridge, a known signature of Calder's forward trap. "Black jeep," Bond whispered. "Just like I predicted." Helena's voice cut through. "Bond, proceed with caution. Calder's manipulating signals. Don't trust what you see." Bond activated a tracking override. "Lucas, live feed. I need every unit in real time. Now." From the shadows, Calder's operatives converged. Bond rolled, taking down 2 armed tech specialists with precise shots. A sniper's laser aimed at his chest. He pivoted, neutralizing the rifle with a single shot. Tiger and Ryan intercepted the convoy, neutralizing armored vehicles. Ethan and Marcus held the choke points, disabling drones mid-flight. Helena's tactical oversight ensured 0 friendly casualties. Bond's hand hovered over the intel. "Got it. Extraction now." Suddenly, Calder's voice boomed from a hijacked comm. "Bond, you won't escape Phase Nemesis. Every route is blocked." Bond's grin was razor-sharp. "Phase Nemesis? I prefer improvisation." The helicopter descended amidst controlled chaos. Bond vaulted inside with Helena and Tiger securing the perimeter. Ryan provided cover fire as the last of Calder's forward agents were neutralized. Joseph Calder slammed his fist. "Impossible! How does he adapt so quickly?" Superior Chief's voice was a shadowed whisper. "Phase Nemesis is only the start. Bond has survived, but tomorrow, we strike again." Bond, gripping the intel, glanced at Helena. "They'll try, but every strike they make, we counter." Helena's eyes were icy determination. One step ahead, always. Bond's gaze met the horizon. Always one step ahead. That's the only rule. The sun had barely risen over the city, yet a pall of unease hung in the air. Bond sat in the mobile command van, Helena crossed by his side, fingers flying over multiple consoles. "Bond," Helena said, her voice tight. "Calder's Phase Nemesis didn't stop at the forward cell. Our intel shows simultaneous strikes across 5 sectors. Civilian areas are at risk." Bond's eyes narrowed. "He's trying to pull us apart, spread us thin. But the Syndicate underestimates one thing: we adapt faster than they can coordinate." Lucas Reed's voice crackled through the earpiece, anxious. "Sir, multiple drones are intercepting comms. Signals are heavily jammed. Our units could be isolated." Bond leaned forward, voice calm but sharp. "Then we move in layered phases. Tiger, Ryan, hold the northern sectors. Ethan, Marcus, secure perimeters and evac points. Helena, coordinate central ops. I'll go straight to Calder's strike hub, find out what he's planning next." Helena gave a curt nod. "Bond, we're all moving, but if you get cornered—" "You don't need to finish that sentence," Bond said with a slight smirk. "We know the rules." In Calder's shadowed command hub, he and the Superior Chief watched the city's live feeds. Fires flared across multiple districts, drones patrolled the sky, and mercenary convoys roamed the streets. Bond survived our forward cell, Calder hissed, fingers tapping the table in frustration. But he will not survive the city-wide net. Faye's nemesis continues, only broader. Superior Chief's face remained shadowed. He adapts. He anticipates. But he cannot anticipate everything. Make sure the EMP drones and automated interceptors are live. Bond will pay for every setback. Understood, Calder said coldly. All units have orders: eliminate, confuse, and manipulate. Bond has become a threat. It ends today. Bond moved through the streets like a shadow, every step calculated. Fires reflected off wet asphalt, vehicles abandoned in panic, creating perfect cover for ambushes. He ducked behind a toppled streetlight, surveying the chaos. A convoy of black SUVs sped past, Calder's signature. Bond activated a portable tracker. Lucas's voice through the earpiece. "Sir, those vehicles are loaded with high-grade explosives. Any direct engagement could trigger mass casualties." Bond's jaw tightened. "Then we don't engage directly. We manipulate, isolate, and neutralize. Helena, any intel on Calder's strike hub location?" Helena's eyes scanned multiple feeds. Sector 7 Industrial Warehouse. He's consolidating command there. But drones and automated sentries block all direct approaches. "We'll need diversion." Bond grinned faintly. "Diversion, improvisation, execution. Let's make Faye's nemesis, Faye's termination." From the warehouse rooftop, Calder observed the city burning under controlled chaos. Every camera, every drone feed confirmed Bond's presence, but only marginally. "Activate secondary lockdown," Calder ordered. "Every route Bond might take, blocked. Every drone armed. Every operative ready. He will stumble into traps." Superior Chief's voice, cold as ice. "Remember, Calder, Bond adapts. He will try to anticipate. That's why the city itself is part of our trap. Streets, signals, civilians, everything is an instrument of chaos." Calder's lips curled in a faint smirk. "Then let's see if improvisation can save him this time." Bond and his team set in motion a series of coordinated strikes. Utiger and Ryan infiltrated the northern sector, disabling drone relays and clearing ambush points. Ethan and Marcus secured civilian evacuation routes while neutralizing mercenary patrols. Helena coordinated intel, feeding Bond real-time surveillance, highlighting traps and explosive placements. Bond used shadows and chaos to his advantage, drawing small groups of Calder's men away, neutralizing them with precision strikes. A black SUV loomed in the distance, sensors active. Bond hurled an EMP device, shutting down its automated defenses and forcing the occupants into the open. A firefight erupted. Bond moved fluidly, neutralizing threats with his signature efficiency, rolling, dodging, and returning fire in calculated bursts. Ryan's younger hot-headed aggression complemented Tiger's brute strength, clearing the path for Bond to reach the warehouse perimeter. Bond approached the industrial warehouse silently. Calder had fortified the entrances with automated turrets and sensors. Bond tapped into Lucas's portable comms to override a security node, creating a blind spot in the perimeter. Inside, Calder and his team worked frantically. Holographic displays of city streets, drone feeds, and coordinated strikes. Calder's eyes narrowed as he noticed anomalies in the signal. Bond was close. Calder barked orders. "They're here. Interceptors, block the exits. Drones, engage the feed. He can't escape this." Bond slipped past a corridor, taking down two guards silently, moving with almost inhuman precision. Helena's voice guided him through blind corridors. Left, Bond. Turrets are active 3 meters ahead. Use the side access. Bond barely registered her voice over the tension of approaching death and traps. Every step, every decision was a calculation. Every move could be his last. Bond POV, focused, calm, calculating. Every corner a potential trap, every shadow a possible threat. The city's chaos was a cloak and a weapon. Calder POV, increasingly tense, watching Bond's movements on hacked feeds, realizing the forward operative is dismantling Faye's nemesis step by step. Impossible. He adapts too fast, Calder hissed. Bond reached a reinforced door, beyond which Calder orchestrated the city-wide strikes. He could hear faint, mechanical whirs, the pulse of automated drones, and the hum of EMP generators. Helena's voice came through the earpiece, sharp. Bond, this is it. All units in position. Extraction is ready. Don't delay. Bond's eyes glinted with resolve. Then it's time to end Faye's nemesis. Bond pressed against the cold steel wall of the warehouse, eyes scanning the dimly lit interior. Holographic maps flickered, showing live drone positions and city hotspots. Every movement from Calder's men was tracked, yet the operative knew any wrong step could trigger explosives. Helena's voice was sharp in his earpiece. Bond, the central node is 2 corridors ahead. Calder's main control is right there. Avoid the automated turrets, they're linked to the EMP grids. Bond smirked faintly. I was hoping for a challenge. He crept forward, footsteps silent over grated metal flooring. 2 guards emerged from the shadows. Bond rolled, swept the first with a calculated elbow, and knocked the second out with a precise wrist twist. He checked their IDs, Veil Syndicate operatives, then moved on. Calder paced before a bank of holographic displays. The Superior Chief's shadow loomed on the comm feed. Bond is inside, Calder growled, slamming his fist on the table. He cannot breach the main control. Activate the kinetic shields and auto turrets. Do not underestimate him again. Superior Chief's voice was icy. Calder, one operative cannot hold the city hostage alone. Make sure he is contained within the warehouse perimeter. The traps are primed. Calder's eyes gleamed with anticipation. Let him come. Every corner, every floor, I've turned this building into a labyrinth. He will find nothing but death. Bond moved silently through the corridors, observing the subtle clues of Calder's design. Pressure plates, tripwires, and camouflaged turrets. Ryan Cole's voice crackled over the comm. Bond, northern sector cleared. We've disabled the secondary drones. Tigers holding the perimeter. Bond replied tersely, eyes fixed on a blinking red console. Good. Keep eyes open. I want Calder isolated before we move in. Suddenly, the corridor's lights flickered. Calder's voice boomed through hidden speakers. Welcome, Bond. I knew you'd come, but you are walking straight into the trap. Bond's eyes scanned the walls, noting faint laser lines, pressure-triggered explosive fields. Classic Calder, he muttered. Always theatrical. Calder activated a wall of holographic screens, projecting images of Bond's team and city locations under fire. He needs to see the stakes, Calder whispered. Fear is an instrument. Confusion is a weapon. Superior Chief's voice, distant but commanding, warned. Do not underestimate him. He thrives under pressure. Make sure Faye's nemesis ends here, or it ends you. Calder nodded, fingers dancing over holographic controls. Automated drones hummed as they prepared to intercept. Bond's presence was confirmed, yet every measure Calder took was being calculated by an operative 10 steps ahead. Bond finally reached the reinforced central control room. Calder was there, calm yet poised, surrounded by holographic displays and automated defense drones. "You're persistent," Calder said, eyes narrowing. "But persistence won't save you." Bond's gaze didn't waver. "Neither will arrogance." Drones flanked Calder. Bond drew his sidearm, firing with precision, taking out drones without disturbing Calder. The operative's movements were fluid, calculated, deliberate, and lethal. Calder activated an EMP shield, causing the room's tech to flicker. Bond ducked, rolled, and used the momentary blackout to close in. A physical fight ensued, Bond's precision versus Calder's brute cunning. Every punch, every countermove was met with tactical brilliance. A Bond POV, every strike, every movement, calculated to neutralize threats without triggering the EMP grids or explosives. He analyzed Calder's pattern, anticipating attacks before they landed. A Calder POV, each move of Bond's was noted. Yet Calder grew frustrated. His traps, drones, and tech seemed ineffective against the operative's adaptability. Bond finally disarmed Calder, pinning him against the console. "Phase Nemesis ends here," Bond said, voice low but deadly. Calder smirked faintly. "Even if you succeed, the city—" Bond interrupted, pressing a secure button on the console. The EMP grids deactivated. The automated drones fell inactive. Bond's team stormed in simultaneously. Helena, Tiger, Ryan, Ethan, Marcus, all securing perimeter and neutralizing remaining guards. Bond restrained Calder, forcing him to reveal the location of the final warhead caches. Helena spoke through comms. "Bond, city is stabilized. Units have secured all sectors." Bond nodded, though his mind raced. "We need extraction and containment. Calder won't be the last. But for now." He looked at Calder, who sat smirking despite being restrained. "You play a dangerous game," Bond muttered. Calder's eyes glimmered with a hint of menace. "This game is far from over, Bond. You've won this battle, not the war." Bond glanced at Helena. "Then we prepare for the next round." Bond surveyed the city from the rooftop vantage point. The night air was sharp, carrying the distant hum of helicopters and faint sirens. Below, the Syndicate's remnants scurried through the industrial sector, unaware that CID had already locked down all exit points. Helena's voice crackled through his earpiece. "Bond, we've secured the north and east sectors. Tiger and Ryan are holding the perimeters. The warheads are in 3 separate containers. They need extraction immediately." Bond scanned the containers on the holomap. Each was guarded, booby-trapped, and wired with countdown mechanisms. "Understood. Helena, I'll handle the southernmost container. Marcus, coordinate air cover. Lucas, I need surveillance feeds updated every second." He vaulted across the rooftop, landing silently among crates and shipping containers. The first container loomed ahead, massive, steel-reinforced, and humming with deadly energy. Calder, restrained but still sharp, smirked from his high-security holding cell. His voice carried through a secure line to his remaining agents. "Even in defeat, you can't let them reach the warheads. Set traps in every path, EMP mines, motion-triggered explosives, flamethrower turrets. They must not leave with a single one intact." The Superior Chief's holographic visage appeared above Calder's console. "You failed once. Make sure failure doesn't happen again." Calder's fingers danced over his tablet, initiating last resort mechanisms throughout the city's industrial zones. "Let's see how Bond dances with death now." Bond approached the first container cautiously. Pressure sensors lined the floor, and hidden turrets swiveled slowly, scanning for motion. He pressed a palm to the ground, using a micro-detection device from Lucas. "Turrets are lined to respond to heat signatures," he muttered. He pulled a compact EMP device from his jacket, crouched low, and tossed it. The device emitted a soft pulse, temporarily deactivating the turret sensors. With a swift motion, Bond attached the CID standard override key to the container lock. The steel doors hissed open, revealing the first warhead. Ryan Cole's voice came over the comms. "Container 1 secured. Moving to your location, Bond." Bond nodded subtly, even though Ryan couldn't see him. "Good. Be ready for anything." From a hidden command post, Calder monitored Bond's movements on multiple feeds. "Interesting. He's adapting too quickly. Activate secondary defenses. Pressure-triggered flame jets in corridors 3 and 7. A flurry of red lights flashed along the grid. Syndicate operatives armed themselves, preparing for close-quarters ambush. "This is it," one murmured. "Bond is heading our way. We finish him tonight." Bond reached the second container. Two Syndicate operatives emerged from shadows, weapons raised. He reacted instantly, spinning into a low sweep that brought the first agent down, catching the second mid-charge with an elbow strike that snapped the man's balance. A concealed blade emerged from Bond's sleeve, slicing wires on the container's lock. The door hissed open. The warhead glowed faintly in the dim lighting. Helena's voice, "Bond, you've got 10 minutes before the EMP shield auto-reactivates. Tiger and Marcus are handling perimeter breaches. Move quickly." Bond moved with calculated precision, dragging the warhead onto a reinforced pallet. Extraction route secured. Moving to final location. Calder realized Bond had breached the second warhead. "Impossible," he roared. "Deploy the fire drones." Flamethrower drones burst from hidden ports. Smoke filled the corridors. Bond rolled to cover, using the shadows to his advantage, and engaged the drones one by one, disabling them with precise shots and clever EMP pulses. "Bond is unstoppable," muttered Calder, frustrated. "Prepare the last container. If he takes that one, the city is lost." Bond arrived at the third container. This time, automated turrets lined the area with calculated precision. Using a combination of Lucas's live feed guidance and his own instincts, Bond ducked behind crates, leaping from cover to cover. He noticed a faint glimmer. Tiger's reconnaissance had left a trace. Bond grinned. He activated a smoke canister and sprinted, rolling under turret fire. A single well-placed EMP device neutralized the remaining defenses. Inside the container, the last warhead sat atop a hydraulic lift, ready to be moved. Bond secured it to the reinforced pallet, signaling Ryan and Tiger. Helena's voice, "All containers secured. Extraction team en route." "You've done it, Bond." Bond allowed himself a brief nod, though his eyes scanned every shadow. Calder might have other surprises. A Bond POV, precision, calm under fire, and relentless in tactical evaluation. He coordinates extraction, neutralizes drones and operatives, and ensures the warheads are moved safely. A Veil Syndicate POV. Calder watches in disbelief, deploying last-ditch defenses. Every move Bond makes is countered by drones, flamethrowers, and traps, yet none halt the operative. Tension rises as Calder realizes control is slipping. Bond coordinated with Marcus and Tiger to load all 3 warheads onto reinforced helicopters. Ryan and Ethan secured perimeter zones, neutralizing remaining Syndicate operatives. Helena called from the rooftop, "City sectors are under control." Surveillance shows Calder's men either neutralized or fleeing. The Superior Chief's network is compromised. Bond allowed himself a small smile. Extraction successful. Warheads are safe. Syndicate is contained, for now. Bond remains vigilant, knowing Calder might survive and regroup. Tactical assessment begins for post-extraction security. Helena monitors city, ensuring no remaining threats. Dialogue with Bond hints at next moves. Syndicate. Calder's influence weakened but not eliminated. Threat remains in shadows, building suspense for the next chapters. Bond watched the city from the edge of the rooftop. All 3 warheads had been secured, but Helena's voice crackled urgently through the comms. Bond. Calder's extraction drones just tracked a signal. He's escaping through the Eastern Canal system. If he reaches the city outskirts, we could lose him permanently. Bond narrowed his eyes. Understood. I'm moving. Ryan, Tiger, hold the perimeter. Marcus, provide air support. With a swift leap, Bond descended into the alleyways, weaving through shadows. Every corner, every doorway could hide a trap. Calder was cunning. He would not be caught easily. Calder, crouched in a sleek, black hovercraft, navigated the narrow canals with precision. Bond thinks he's won, he muttered. Let's see how he handles this. He activated a series of remote-triggered obstructions, floating mines, automated turrets, and EMP pulse barriers designed to disable pursuers. His grin was calm, but his eyes betrayed anticipation. The superior chief's voice rang through his comm. Calder, extract the data drives and leave the city. Bond is dangerous, but predictable. Use the terrain. Calder's fingers danced over the hovercraft console, plotting a route that twisted through hidden canals, over sunken bridges, and beneath abandoned structures. Predictable, maybe, but I'm not going down without a fight. Bond followed via an intel drone Lucas had deployed overhead. The feed showed Calder's craft weaving through tight passages, drones flanking him. Helena, the canal's too narrow for helicopters. I'm going in on foot, Bond said, gripping his grappling line and magnetic boots. He attached them to a nearby bridge, swinging silently over the water. He landed in the shadows, moving like a predator. Ahead, the hovercraft cut through the canal, and Calder's operatives fired automated pulse rifles from the banks. Bond rolled, dodging the first volley, and hurled a compact EMP grenade, short-circuiting the pulse rifles. Calder's hovercraft lurched, but kept moving. Predictable, yet efficient, Bond muttered under his breath, sprinting along the canal's edge. Calder activated more traps. A series of nets dropped from hidden cranes, catching 2 of Bond's tracking drones in flames. Too slow, Bond, Calder said, glancing over his shoulder. The city belongs to shadows now. But Calder underestimated the CID team. Tiger and Ryan had split off to cover flank zones, and Marcus's air drones provided real-time overwatch, keeping Bond informed of Calder's maneuvers. A Bond POV, precision movement, using grappling hooks, stealth, and environmental advantages to follow Calder. Mental calculations are rapid, anticipating traps and countering every move. Syndicate POV, Calder orchestrates chaos, deploying traps, drones, and EMPs. His anticipation of Bond's methods creates tense, cinematic action sequences. The chase weaves through abandoned warehouses, sunken bridges, and subterranean canals. Sparks fly from EMP strikes, water sprays as hovercraft schemes beneath low arches, and Bond dodges debris with near-superhuman agility. Bond finally catches up near an abandoned dockyard. Calder's hovercraft screeches to a halt, the rear engines damaged by EMP bursts. "You're persistent," Calder said, stepping out with a concealed pulse pistol. His grin is cold, calculated. "I don't lose," Bond replied evenly, moving into cover behind shipping containers. A brutal firefight ensues. Calder's operatives fire from shadows, Bond counters with precision shots, EMP pulses, and close combat strikes. Calder attempts a flanking maneuver but underestimates Tiger's silent assault from the perimeter. Bond lands a decisive strike to Calder's wrist, disarming him. The pulse pistol skitters across the dock. "You can't win," Calder snarls. "Maybe not," Bond replies, pressing the butt of his pistol to Calder's temple. "But I can stop you from destroying my city." With Calder neutralized, Helena coordinates the team. "Bond, secure him. Lucas, feed his location to HQ. Tiger, Ryan, clear remaining operatives. Marcus, prep the helicopters." Bond cuffed Calder and led him to the reinforced CID transport vehicle. Calder glared silently, understanding that his escape was over. Bond signaled Lucas to transmit the final coordinates of all Syndicate assets to HQ. Every drone, trap, and operative location was catalogued, ensuring no loose ends. A Bond observes Calder restrained, calculating next moves for interrogation. His focus remains on dismantling the Syndicate network fully. Helena maintains city security, coordinating with remaining CID operatives to clean up any scattered threats. Veil Syndicate, Calder's capture is a massive blow. Only remnants remain, scattered and leaderless, leaving suspense for future encounters. Bond's earpiece crackles. Helena's voice is calm but firm. Mission Phase 1 complete. But Calder is just the beginning. The Superior Chief remains at large. Bond smirks faintly, his eyes scanning the horizon. Let's make sure he doesn't get the chance to strike again. Bond stood at the edge of the rooftop, Calder secured in CID transport. His mind raced through every angle, every possible escape route the Veil Syndicate might use next. The city was quiet now, but quiet meant nothing. Helena's voice cut through the earpiece. "Bond, we've confirmed Calder's assets are retreating, but the Superior Chief is moving. His next target is likely one of our undisclosed sites. Prepare for the possibility of simultaneous attacks." Bond's jaw tightened. Understood. Marcus, keep air surveillance on all exit points. Lucas, keep drones sweeping the waterways and rooftops. Ryan, Tiger, secure perimeter zones. Any sign of Superior Chief's operatives, I want them tracked immediately. Bond glanced down at Calder in the armored transport vehicle. The man's eyes burned with defiance. "This isn't over," Calder spat. Bond smirked faintly. "For you, it is." In a shadowed high-tech command hub hidden beneath the ruins of an abandoned industrial complex, the Superior Chief observed Calder's capture via live feed. His presence exuded authority and menace. "You underestimated CID's operative," he murmured, voice cold and precise. "Calder's capture changes nothing. Prepare Phase 2. An aide approached. "Sir," Calder reports Bond's presence. He predicts the operative's next moves. The Superior Chief's eyes glinted. "Good. Let him predict. We'll make him think he controls the board while we strike in shadows." He activated multiple channels simultaneously, cyber infiltration teams, elite field agents, and remote-operated machinery. Each move calculated to confuse, mislead, and weaken CID's response. Bond POV strategizes next moves, considering Calder's intel and the possibility of the Superior Chief acting unseen. Bond's instincts tell him this is bigger than any single operative. A Veil Syndicate POV. Superior Chief manipulates assets remotely, planting false leads, decoys, and traps. Calder, though captured, still serves as a pawn in his game. Every movement is calculated. Every distraction hides a threat. The city becomes a labyrinth of suspense, with Bond and Syndicate forces playing high-stakes cat and mouse. Bond calls Helena directly. "Helena, I need all units on alert." Tiger and Ryan continue perimeter sweeps, but we also need rapid response teams at all high-risk sectors. Superior Chief will not wait. Helena responds firmly. "Already done." Marcus, Lucas, and Daniel have coordinated drone sweeps. Sophia is analyzing behavioral patterns. We're predicting likely strike points. Bond, your field team moves as a unit, but be ready for diversionary tactics. Bond nodded. "Understood. We can't let them split us up. Every move has to count." The Superior Chief, observing multiple live feeds, smiled at the unfolding chaos. Calder remained compliant, but the Superior Chief knew Bond's analytical mind. "Give him a taste of control," he muttered. "Then crush him when he least expects it." He triggered a decoy alert near an atomic storage facility. Alarms screamed, drones swarmed, but it was empty. The real target was elsewhere. Calder watched silently, aware of the larger game but unable to interfere. Bond analyzed the anomaly immediately. "Helena, the facility alert is a decoy. Superior Chief wants us spread thin. We move as planned, but stay focused on the main threat." Helena responded, tension in her voice. "Affirmative. Team, split carefully. Tiger, Ryan, Marcus, cover main extraction zones. Lucas, monitor all feeds for deviations." Bond's mind calculated the risk. The Superior Chief's moves were deliberate, psychological, and lethal. Each decision could cost lives. A Bond POV engages in high-stakes deduction, predicting Superior Chief's next moves while keeping Calder secure. Every decision is critical. Superior Chief POV monitors, manipulates, and plans the next phase, exploiting Bond's predictable pattern to create tension and potential casualties. The city is a chessboard. Every alleyway, rooftop, and canal is a potential battlefield. The CID team moves with precision, yet the shadow of the Superior Chief looms large. Bond stands overlooking the city skyline, Calder in custody, drones streaming live feeds from across the metropolis. Helena's voice crackles in his earpiece. "Bond. Superior Chief is mobilizing assets in 3 key sectors simultaneously. If he strikes, it could overwhelm us." Bond clenches his jaw. "Then we hit him where he least expects. Time to end this." The Superior Chief, in his hidden lair, watches Bond's movements, a cold smile forming. Let him think he's closing in. The final game begins now. Bond leaned over Calder in the secure CID mobile lab, Helena standing beside him. The dim light reflected off Calder's tense, calculating eyes. Bond's voice was calm but firm. "Calder, I want everything you know about the Superior Chief. Now." Calder smirked, defiant. "You think you can pressure me? You're a fool if you believe that." Helena's tone cut through the tension. "Bond, don't waste time. We need actionable intel, not theatrics." Bond's jaw tightened. "Fine. Let's see if you're as clever as you think." He tapped a small digital recorder, initiating the interrogation sequence. Calder's mind was sharp, but Bond's technique was precise, reading micro-expressions, pauses, and inconsistencies. Underground, the Superior Chief observed Calder's capture with satisfaction. His eyes, sharp and calculating, flicked between multiple monitors. "Phase 1 begins," he said coldly. "Let them think they are in control while the city shifts beneath their feet." He activated remote drones and precision strike units to target CID diversion points, ensuring Bond's focus would be split. A shadow of a smile formed. We'll test their limits tonight. A Bond POV deciphers Calder's cryptic hints. Bond senses the superior chief is orchestrating a multi-layered attack, but cannot predict the exact location. A Veil Syndicate POV. Superior chief moves pieces on the chessboard, remote strikes, false intel, and psychological traps, forcing CID into reactive positions. Sirens blared across the city as drones and automated units deployed. Bond's earpiece crackled. Marcus, perimeter breach at the northern sector. Tiger and Ryan, intercept. Bond's hand hovered over his sidearm. Lucas, pull up live drone feeds. Helena, track Calder's eye movements. He's hiding something. Meanwhile, Calder muttered under his breath. They'll hit the east storage next. Superior chief wants you divided. Bond narrowed his eyes. Exactly what I suspected. But we'll control the game. Helena activated the emergency protocols. Bond, we've rerouted teams to secondary positions. All non-essential assets move underground. Drone coverage at 360 degrees. Bond responded, good. Keep Calder secure. He might be useful, but he's also a liability if the superior chief anticipates our moves. The CID team moved with surgical precision, avoiding the first wave of the superior chief strikes while gathering intel on the real target. Back in the lair, the superior chief watched Bond coordinate. His hand hovered over a console, deploying an encrypted message to Calder. Tell your master he's walking into a trap. Let's see how far he can stretch before he breaks. Calder's smirk faltered. Even he knew the superior chief's reach extended beyond what Bond could currently predict. A Bond POV realizes this is not just a physical confrontation. It's psychological, predicting the superior chief's moves while keeping the team alive. Bond calculates timing, distance, and enemy behavior with precision. A Veil Syndicate POV. Superior chief anticipates Bond's deductions and sets secondary decoys, ensuring every move has multiple potential consequences. The city streets turned into a high-stakes game board, with Bond navigating chaos, intelligence, and sheer survival instincts. Every second counted. Bond studied Calder's face as the man finally seemed to crack under the pressure. Helena, arms crossed, watched silently, her cold, analytical gaze never leaving Calder. Bond leaned closer, voice low but firm. Calder, the game is bigger than you or me. Tell me what the superior chief is planning, or you'll regret it. Calder hesitated, sweat forming at his temples. Then, almost whispering, they're moving the warheads. Not just this city. Other countries are targets too. The superior chief wants a chain reaction. You're too late unless you move fast. Bond's expression hardened. Show me. Calder smirked, almost defiantly. You wouldn't understand if I told you. It's coded. Only someone with the superior chief's clearance can interpret it fully. Helena's tone cut sharply. Bond, don't waste time. We decrypt it, or the city dies. Simple as that. Bond nodded. Lucas, start the decoding sequence. Tiger, Ryan, secure perimeter. In his subterranean lair, the superior chief observed Bond coordinating his team, a thin smile forming. Ah, he's good. Too good, he murmured. But not enough. He activated another series of decoys and precision drones. One drone projected false warhead coordinates in the north, while the real targets moved south under heavy concealment. Superior Chief's fingers hovered over a red button. Let's see how he handles misdirection and pressure simultaneously. I want him stretched, psychologically and physically. Bond POV recognizes the superior chief's strategy of misdirection. Bond calculates probabilities, routing teams to correct locations while maintaining an eye on Calder. A Veil Syndicate POV. Superior Chief watches through encrypted feeds. Every CID move is anticipated, but he enjoys the suspense. The human element is always unpredictable. Lucas's hacking interface beeped urgently. Bond, I've cracked the Superior Chief's codes. Calder's intel. It's real. Warheads are moving tonight to multiple depots. Bond's eyes narrowed. Which depots? Sophia Lane chimed in, calm and precise. Coordinates indicate 3 locations outside the city, plus 1 underground facility here. If they succeed, the damage is catastrophic. Bond exhaled, voice low but controlled. Helena, assemble strike teams Alpha and Beta. We move in 30 minutes. Calder, you're coming with us. Your life depends on it. Calder swallowed hard but nodded. He knew resistance was futile. Across the city, Superior Chief initiated another communication line to Calder, encrypted. Tell your master he's walking blind. Every second he hesitates, the countdown accelerates. Enjoy the chaos while it lasts. Calder's hands trembled, but he said nothing. Bond noticed. Bond muttered to Helena. He's afraid. Not of me. Of the man behind the curtain. Helena's cold eyes reflected understanding. Then we use that fear. It's leverage, and it might save lives. A Bond side, teams mobilize, helicopters lift off, streets become tactical zones. Bond's strategy is clear. Intercept warheads, minimize civilian casualties, and locate the Superior Chief. A Veil Syndicate side. Superior Chief watches the city like a chessboard, manipulating moves, deploying decoys, and preparing the ultimate psychological test for Bond. The countdown looms. Every second amplifies tension. The city is the stage, the players are human and machine, and the first real confrontation with the Superior Chief is imminent. Bond scanned the city from the helicopter, the skyline bathed in neon lights, a perfect reflection of chaos about to erupt. Alpha and Beta teams, coordinates locked. Move fast, minimize civilian exposure. Bond's voice came through the comms. Tiger's deep voice echoed back. Understood. Perimeter secure. No one gets past us unnoticed. Ryan Cole, tense but eager, added. Bond warheads are heavily guarded. We'll need diversion tactics. Bond's calm, steely gaze didn't waver. Helena, Lucas, give me live intel feeds. We intercept before the Syndicate can relocate the nukes. Calder, stay close. One wrong move, and you're done. The streets below transformed into a tactical map. Each intersection, alley, and rooftop was now a potential battlefield. Bond's mind worked like a supercomputer, anticipating Veil Syndicate moves while coordinating his team's every step. From the shadowed lair, the Superior Chief watched the city like a predator. His holographic table displayed multiple layers, warhead locations, CID movement, drone patrols, and decoy placements. A thin, cold smile appeared. Bond thinks he's in control. Let's see how he handles simultaneous chaos. He triggered multiple countermeasures. Warheads in decoy trucks diverted toward open streets. Autonomous drones patrolled the real convoy's path. Snipers and combat units were strategically placed to strike at optimal points. Superior Chief muttered under his breath. Let's test his decision-making and his patience. Bond sighed. Bond led the strike teams through side streets, evading sniper fire while Lucas hacked traffic systems to delay decoy trucks. Sophia monitored civilian movements, providing real-time analysis. Bond, one of the real warhead trucks, is moving north. Tiger and Ryan intercept Route 3. Lucas instructed. Bond didn't hesitate. Move. Helena, coordinate with me on the ground exit strategy. Veil Syndicate side. Superior Chief watched every tactical adjustment, his eyes narrowing. He activated a secondary drone swarm, forcing Bond to split attention between multiple threats. Calder trembled beside Bond, realizing the gravity of the operation. Bond's team cornered the first convoy. Tiger's massive frame blocked escape routes. Ryan's agility allowed him to neutralize Syndicate guards swiftly. Bond moved like a ghost, taking out key targets silently, yet efficiently. Helena's sharp voice crackled over the comms. Bond, multiple decoys detected. Don't fall for the bait. Bond's eyes narrowed. Understood. Focused on the real convoy. Lucas, track real-time GPS signals from Calder's decrypted intel. Meanwhile, Superior Chief smirked. Divide them, stretch them thin. Let's see how much of this they can handle before panic sets in. Bond engaged a squadron of elite Syndicate operatives using advanced tech. Automated weapons hummed, cutting through the air. Bond dodged, countered, and used precise shots to disable the drones. Tiger and Ryan moved like coordinated shadows, clearing paths while Bond focused on the primary convoy. Calder, sweating profusely, whispered, This is madness." Bond's cold eyes met his. "Welcome to my world. Keep up or step aside." The Superior Chief, monitoring every move, tapped his fingers against the console. "Very good. Let's raise the stakes." He deployed a hidden sniper team, aiming for Helena. Bond noticed immediately, anticipation sharp as a blade. "Helena, move." He fired a precise shot to disable the nearest sniper, pulling her to cover. Superior Chief triggered a city-wide blackout, cutting communications for a tense 45 seconds. Bond felt the claustrophobia, but his team adapted swiftly. "Stay calm," Bond ordered. "This is what he wants. We don't give him the satisfaction." On the other side, the Superior Chief whispered, almost like a mantra, "Let's see if the ghost can handle the chaos before I show him my full hand." Bond crouched atop a partially collapsed rooftop, the city's lights flickering from the earlier blackout. Below, the chaos was barely contained. CID units moving, Tiger and Ryan neutralizing Syndicate squads, Lucas streaming live drone feeds into Bond's tablet. Helena's calm, sharp voice broke through the comms. "Bond, perimeters unstable. Intel shows a high-level operative moving toward the central plaza. Could be the Superior Chief himself." Bond's jaw tightened. "Then it's time we meet him. Everyone stay alert. Calder, your eyes are on me." He slipped silently down a fire escape, blending into the shadows. Every instinct screamed danger, every muscle tensed for the unknown. In a high-rise command room, the Superior Chief observed the unfolding operation. His thin lips curved into a faint smile. "Bond thinks he can dictate the pace. Let's see how he reacts when the predator becomes prey," he murmured. He pressed a few holographic keys. A hologram of Bond's probable route appeared. Multiple automated defense systems were activated, hidden turrets emerging from the building's walls. "Prepare the shadow units. Let the ghost feel our grip," he ordered. Bond sighed. Bond advanced through the plaza, analyzing every reflection, every flicker of light. His hand hovered near his pistol as he approached the central square, noting the pattern of turrets and snipers. Tiger grunted beside him. "Bond, these guys are ready for us." Bond smirked faintly, whispering, "Let's make it interesting." He tossed a small EMP device, disabling half of the automated defenses. Ryan and Tiger surged forward, neutralizing remaining guards with precision. Veil Syndicate sighed. The Superior Chief watched live feeds as his forces were dismantled one by one. "Interesting. He adapts too quickly. Time for Plan B," he muttered. He activated a secondary defense mechanism, a network of trapdoors and laser grids designed to funnel Bond into a confined kill zone. Bond reached the center of the plaza, where the Superior Chief finally revealed himself, standing atop a raised platform, silhouetted against the city lights. Bond's voice was calm, measured, but sharp. "I was beginning to think you enjoy playing in the shadows too much." Superior Chief tilted his head, his eyes cold steel. "Bond, you're persistent. But persistence without caution is dangerous." Bond smirked, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. "Danger's my specialty. Shall we dance?" The Superior Chief pressed a hidden panel. Automated drones zipped from all directions, but Bond anticipated them, flipping and diving with inhuman precision, neutralizing some midair. Bond engaged the Superior Chief directly. Their fight was brutal. Precision strikes, counters, and relentless pressure. Each move was calculated, a deadly chess match in motion. A Bond ducked a spinning kick, retaliating with a sharp elbow to the Chief's ribs. The Superior Chief countered with a high-tech stun baton, forcing Bond to roll behind cover. Orion and Tiger cleared remaining Syndicate operatives, ensuring Bond had space to maneuver. Helena's voice was calm yet urgent. "Bond, be careful. He's not just physically strong, he's predicting your moves." Bond gritted his teeth, muscles straining. "I'm counting on it." The Superior Chief unleashed a psychological trap, holographic projections of CID members in danger, explosions, and chaos designed to distract Bond. Bond, heart pounding, forced himself to focus. Projection or reality, doesn't matter. Keep moving. He pressed forward, breaking through a final line of drones, landing face to face with the Superior Chief. "Bond, you've underestimated us." "Superior Chief, and you've underestimated me." A surge of energy weapons fired, forcing Bond to dive sideways. The plaza's floor collapsed partially, separating them by several meters, tension crackling like electricity. Bond landed hard on the cracked pavement, his boots kicking up shards of concrete. The Superior Chief had vanished into a shadowed corridor created by the collapsing plaza. "Helena, he's gone. Sensors are scrambled," Bond muttered into his comm. Julia's sharp voice cut through. "Focus, Bond. Track what you can. Tiger, Ryan, cover his exits. Lucas, reroute all feeds, now." Bond sprinted forward, instincts honed to razor-edge precision. Every turn, every corner of the plaza was a potential trap. Laser grids shimmered suddenly. Bond ducked, rolling under a flickering turret. Tiger growled beside him. "He's slippery. Too slippery." Bond's grin was tight, almost feral. "Not slippery enough." The Superior Chief moved through hidden corridors beneath the city. His calm, cold gaze analyzed every security camera and sensor. "Let them chase shadows. I control the pace," he muttered, pressing a panel that activated a series of automated doors and smoke traps behind him. From a secure terminal, he contacted a Syndicate lieutenant. "Prepare the transport. The package is moving. Leave no trace until he reaches extraction." The lieutenant confirmed, and a black armored vehicle, almost invisible in the shadows, approached the exit corridor. Bond sighed. Bond arrived at the corridor just as smoke filled the space. He coughed, scanning quickly. Motion sensors flared. His tablet beeped frantically. "Lucas, give me heat signatures now," Bond barked. Lucas's nervous voice responded. "I'm on it, Bond. I've got, wait, multiple signatures. Too fast, too coordinated." Bond realized the superior chief wasn't just escaping, he was luring them into a trap. Veil Syndicate sighed. The superior chief smiled as drones scouted ahead, lasers slicing narrow paths. "Precision, speed, deception, the trifecta," he whispered. Two armed syndicate agents blocked side corridors, forcing Bond and his team down the path the chief intended. Bond regrouped with Tiger and Ryan at the corridor junction. His eyes scanned for options: vents, broken walls, emergency exits. "Tiger, Ryan, you know the drill. I'll follow him. You cut off all exits. No one gets out," Bond instructed. Tiger's massive form nodded, muscles coiled for combat. Ryan's face was tense, young but determined. Bond tapped his earpiece. "Julia, prepare the EMP disruptors. We disable his transport when he hits the extraction zone." Julia's voice was steady. "On it. But Bond, timing is critical. One mistake and he disappears completely." Bond smirked. "When has timing ever failed me?" Bond turned a corner into a wider chamber. The superior chief's armored vehicle waited, engines humming silently. Bond raised his weapon. A series of drones descended from above. He moved like liquid, sliding, rolling, firing precise shots. Each strike disabled one drone, but more kept coming. From the shadows, two elite syndicate agents attacked, one wielding a high-voltage baton, the other with close combat blades. Bond's movements were poetry and violence. He ducked under a swing, elbowing one agent into a wall. Spinning, he caught the other agent's wrist mid-strike and twisted, forcing a surrender. Tiger and Ryan arrived just in time, clearing remaining henchmen and sealing corridor exits. Inside the vehicle, the superior chief's expression darkened. He realized Bond had anticipated his ambush. "Impossible. He predicts too much," he muttered, gripping a concealed control panel. The vehicle lurched forward, but just as the chief attempted to escape, an EMP device triggered by Julia disabled its engines. Sparks flew. Bond smirked as he approached the halted vehicle. "You can run, but you can't hide forever." The superior chief's eyes narrowed. "This isn't over, Bond, not by a long shot." Bond's hand hovered near the vehicle door, ready for whatever came next. Bond's eyes scanned the disabled, armored vehicle. Sparks crackled across the hood, smoke curling into the night air. He crouched behind a shattered concrete pillar, earpiece alive with Julia's voice. "Bond. EMP succeeded, but he's still alive. Sensors show multiple concealed weapons in that vehicle," Julia warned, calm but sharp. Bond smirked faintly. "Weapons don't scare me. Anticipation does." Tiger and Ryan flanked him, silent and alert. Their combined presence made the corridor a steel wall. Bond stepped forward cautiously, his gun trained on the vehicle, fingers tight on the trigger. Inside, the superior chief's eyes glinted with cold calculation. "You think a few EMPs and a couple of lackeys can stop me, Bond?" he hissed, his voice smooth, almost eerily calm. Bond answered with a smirk, lowering his gun slightly. "A few? No. Just enough to make you think you're in control." The superior chief knew the building and corridor layout intimately. Every camera, every sensor was mapped in his mind. He activated a hidden panel beneath the seat, a miniature turret raised with a whir of motors. Anticipation is one thing, he murmured, but improvisation, that's where I'll win. He opened the door slightly, peering out to gauge Bond's movements, but the EMP had disabled some systems. His frustration was visible, a rare crack in his otherwise unshakable composure. Bond lunged forward the moment the chief stepped out. The corridor exploded into action. The superior chief fired a silenced pistol. Bond rolled to the side, catching the muzzle flash in the corner of his eye. Bond returned fire, but only to distract. His real plan was tactical disarmament, not lethal. Tiger and Ryan secured exits, preventing reinforcements from interfering. Bond's voice cut through the chaos. Enough games. It ends here. The superior chief smirked. For you, perhaps. For me. This is just beginning. They collided mid-corridor, weapons clashing, body against body. Bond's precision strikes met the chief's ruthless efficiency. Every punch, every kick was calculated, every step measured against the other's strength. Bond sighed. Bond sensed the chief's moves before they happened. His intuition screamed traps, predicting which weapon the chief would draw next. He ducked under a swing, elbowed the chief into a wall, and swept the gun from his hands. Superior chief sighed. The chief gritted his teeth, impressed yet annoyed. Predictable, and yet skilled, he muttered, pivoting to throw Bond off balance. He activated a hidden blade on his wrist, slashing at Bond's shoulder. Bond twisted just in time, barely avoiding the cut. Bond realized the chief was counting on his arrogance, the confidence that Bond could only anticipate his moves but not his environment. Bond feinted left, drawing the chief into a narrow section of the corridor. Lucas's feed from drones provided real-time tactical advantage. Bond could see heat signatures of the chief's hidden traps. With a precise kick, Bond sent a crate sliding, pinning the chief's leg. Bond whispered, almost to himself, "You underestimated the team." Tiger moved in, applying pressure. Ryan blocked any potential escape routes. The superior chief's calm facade cracked, frustration mounting as his traps failed one by one. Bond faced him directly, chest heaving, eyes locked on the superior chief. "End of the line," Bond said, steady and cold. The chief laughed, low and dangerous. "End? No. This is evolution. You think you've won, but everything is connected." Bond's hand flicked a concealed device. The final EMP pulse hit the chief's remaining tech. Sparks flew. Weapons disabled. The superior chief stumbled, realizing his options were gone. Bond moved in, calm and unrelenting. "Connections or not, you're done." With a swift, decisive move, Bond restrained him, cuffing him with specialized CID restraints. Tiger and Ryan secured the area, ensuring no one interfered. Bond activated his calm, voice firm. "Julia, he's secured. No reinforcements, no casualties on our side. I've got him." Julia's voice returned, relieved but sharp. "Well done, Bond. This ends tonight, or at least, this chapter does. Prepare for extraction. The warheads are secure." Bond smirked, his eyes still on the restrained chief. "All secure, and the superior chief will talk soon enough." The corridor fell silent, the echo of their clash lingering, the shadow of danger still present. But for now, Bond and his team had the upper hand. Bond secured the superior chief in the reinforced CID interrogation room. Every corner had sensors, cameras, and containment fields designed to prevent any escape or attack. He leaned against the table, studying the man. "You've caused a lot of trouble," Bond said, voice low but sharp, "and I don't do small talk." The superior chief lifted his head slowly, a sardonic smile creeping across his face. "You think you've cornered me, Bond? You've barely scratched the surface." Bond's eyes narrowed. "Then let's scratch deeper." He activated the table's built-in restraint clamps, ensuring the chief couldn't move more than a few inches. Outside the room, Julia's voice came through the comm. "Bond, make sure you don't push him too far. We need intel alive, not a corpse." Bond smirked faintly. "Don't worry, Julia. I work with precision." Inside, the superior chief was analyzing every detail. His mind raced. CID had him contained, yes, but escape wasn't the only option. Manipulation was possible. He noticed the tension in Bond's jaw, the small twitch of impatience. Oh, he calculated psychological strikes: fear, ego, and curiosity. His words were slow, deliberate, aiming to sow doubt. "You're excellent, I'll give you that. But the Veil Syndicate, we're bigger than a single corridor, a single building, or even you," he said, eyes glinting. Bond's response was a simple, calm observation. Bigger doesn't mean smarter. A Bond's POV. Bond probed, careful not to reveal CID's full hand. "What is your next move? Who else is involved? Tell me, and we can minimize the fallout." Chief's POV. The chief weighed every word. He could reveal partial truths, lie convincingly, or deflect. He decided on a mix. Let Bond think he had control. Fallout is inevitable. People die. Choices are illusions. You'll see. Bond leaned in, noting the chief's hesitation when he mentioned allies in Asia and Europe. He smiled inwardly, a crack in the chief's armor. Meanwhile, Tiger and Ryan monitored secondary channels, ensuring no syndicate operative could interfere. Lucas adjusted surveillance drones to cover escape routes. Tiger muttered, low voice, "This guy's dangerous, even in a chair." Ryan replied, "Yeah, but Bond's already 3 moves ahead." Bond's plan was precise: extract intel on the syndicate, neutralize remaining agents, and secure all warheads. The superior chief, under Bond's careful psychological pressure, began to talk. Names of key operatives and safe houses in multiple countries. Locations of stolen atomic materials. Syndicate's plan for a multi-target strike. Bond listened, taking meticulous mental notes. Every detail mattered. "You're going to regret underestimating CID, Bond said quietly, the calm before the storm evident in his tone. Chief POV, he realized he had underestimated Bond, but pride prevented full surrender. "This isn't over, Bond, not by a long shot," he spat. Simultaneously, an alert, a syndicate commando team had been detected moving towards a nearby CID-controlled warehouse. Bond cut into the earpiece. "Julia, get Tiger and Ryan ready. Lucas, jam all external comms. They're moving on the warehouse." A Bond POV, calculating the attack, positioning his team strategically. Syndicate POV, the operatives thought the building empty, unaware Bond and team had prepared ambush points, traps, and automated defenses. The stage was set for a high-tension clash. Bond led Tiger and Ryan into the warehouse perimeter silently. Each step calculated, shadows their allies. The Syndicate's team advanced, unaware of motion sensors and laser grids. Bond whispered tactical commands. "Right flank, 2 by 2, cover the windows, wait for my signal." Then the first flashbang hit. Chaos erupted. A Bond moved with lethal precision, disarming, immobilizing, and directing his team with almost telepathic synchronicity. Meanwhile, the superior chief watched from his containment room, smirking. Let them fight. They'll never know the half of it. Bond knew better. Every syndicate operative they neutralized, every piece of intel they secured, brought them closer to ending the superior chief's reach.